Welcome. I'm happiness coach Teresa Greco, and this is the Steps to Happiness show. Here, my guests and I talk about the steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. Hello, and welcome to the Steps to Happiness show on 105.9 The Region. I'm your host, Teresa Greco. Are you ready to take that first step towards true, unwavering inner happiness? Are you like thousands of people who have everything they need, not want, but need, and still can't seem to find happiness and fulfillment in their lives? If so, the Steps to Happiness show is for you. On my show, you will learn about the principles and practices that lead to true inner happiness. Because guess what? It's not found in our external environment, but within ourselves instead. On the show, I hope to motivate and inspire you to tap into your inner magic and discover your life's true purpose. Have you ever wondered what your true purpose is? Well, I believe it's just to uncover who you really are and who you are meant to be in this lifetime. Together with my weekly guests, we will explore the latest in physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being practices. And together we'll advise on the actionable steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. Are some of your relationships less than perfect? I'm here to show you how you can improve your home and work relationships. Are you finding that you're not achieving your goals because of limiting beliefs about yourself? And they're having you playing it small instead of living your big self? I'm going to help you to be more present and grateful for your life and to show up every day as the best version of yourself so that you can live the extraordinary life you were meant to live. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm a happiness coach, the co-author and author of 3 self-help books, the editor and senior writer at a Canadian men's magazine. I'm a Reiki master, public speaker, an educator of over 20 years, and an educational technologies consultant. I'm the founder of a personal development company that mentors others about embracing, honoring, loving, and celebrating their true authentic self and achieving their own personal happiness and fulfillment. After feeling like I had lost myself in the living of my life, with commitment and self-love, I was able to reclaim my life and arrive at true inner happiness. I feel strongly that what I have learned and how I was able to heal is now my life's mission to share and help others to do the same. Now, you might be thinking, what did she mean by having lost herself in the living of her life? Well, let me explain. Approaching 40 years old was a turning point in my life. Some people might call it a midlife crisis, but for me, it was an opportunity to start asking some very important questions about my life. Perhaps questions you've wondered about yourself. Realizing that half my life had been lived, hopefully anyway, and wondering if this was all there was. I began asking questions like, is this all there is to life? Where is my life going? Am I happy living the life I am living? Can I imagine myself living the same life for the next 40 years? And most importantly, there was the question, am I living my life's true purpose and full potential? I felt as though something was missing, but what? What confused me was, on the outside, you could say my life looked pretty perfect. I had achieved all the things society, culture, religion, family said I needed to live a happy life. A fulfilling career, 2 healthy kids, our own home, 2 cars in the driveway, vacations a year, many beautiful material things. So if my life checked off all the boxes, why is it that I felt unfulfilled and unhappy with my life? I realized that there was always this feeling within me that I needed to be more and do more, and then maybe I'd feel fulfilled. I was running on what's known as the satisfaction treadmill, which is when we continuously shift our goals upward once we've reached them, and we've got to keep running in order to feel satisfied again. But despite the certificates, degrees, job experiences I got, I still felt I wasn't enough and needed to be more than who I was. For fear of shame, guilt, judgment, and rejection, I kept my feelings to myself. I suffered in silence for a long time, feeling like no one would understand why I felt unhappy. The questions I asked were the catalyst to me realizing that I had lost myself in the living of my life, that in trying to please everybody else by being the perfect mom, wife, daughter, daughter-in-law, sister, sister-in-law, employee, friend, etc., I wasn't honoring, respecting, and most of all, loving myself. I had allowed society, culture, religion, my family and friends to tell me who to be. And because of that, I was always looking outside myself for happiness. I believe we are conditioned to think happiness is found external to us. However, through the various practices and principles that I'm going to share with you each week, I was able to realize that true happiness resides inside yourself and not in your possessions, titles, degree, positions, or relationships. There was no more of, I'll be happy when I get that job, that new purse, when I go on that vacation, etc. Because the problem is that type of happiness doesn't last. The excitement of that first car purchase wears off. The thrill of the vacation gives way to the anxiety of paying the visa bill when you get back home. However, you'll know you've tapped into your true inner happiness because it is unwavering and you can choose to be happy even when your external circumstances may not necessarily be the way you want them to be. Especially during a time like this, more than ever, people are searching up happy and happiness on Google. People want to know how they can find it, where they can find it. And I'm here to tell you that you can search outwardly all you want, but you're never going to find true unwavering happiness outside yourself because it exists inside you. That's where it is. I'm going to show you how to unite all aspects of yourself, your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self. Yes, you heard right, your spiritual self. You're more than just your physical body making its way through the world. There's more to you than just that. Your superpower is found in your spiritual self, your inner magic, your intuition, that gut feeling. That's your spirit trying to guide you towards who you really are. Your natural state is happiness, joy, calm, peace, tranquility, and all those good feelings. But the world leads us away from that natural state and causes us to feel fear, worry, doubt, frustration, anger, and all the negative feelings we feel day to day. So becoming familiar with the simple practices and principles we can use every day to keep us grounded, centered, at peace, and happy is what this show is all about. I am so excited to be here every Saturday morning to bring you the ways that you can arrive at your inner happiness. Each episode will feature 2 guests, and they will share with you the ways they are tapping into their happiness and how they're helping others to do the same. You'll hear from celebrities, mindset coaches, holistic nutritionists, mediums, motivational speakers, and those who are living their passion. Like I said, I hope to motivate and inspire you to try some of the principles and practices you'll hear on the show to live a happier, more fulfilling life. So I am so thrilled to introduce you to my guest, actually the first guest of my show. She is a Canadian style icon and an esteemed entrepreneur known for her impeccable fashion influence and natural ability to positively champion philanthropic causes. I'm referring to Joan Kelley Walker. You might know her from her appearance on the hit series The Real Housewives of Toronto. Joan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Teresa. It's really an honor to be here for your first show.
And so, Joan, you're involved in so many different things. For example, I know that you're also working with your fashion collection that's giving back through the Give Back Collective, a new venture that you're embarking on with your sister-in-law, Ivana Walker, that's launching this spring. If you want to maybe tell us about that.
My collection was available through Walmart, and all of my profits, like after people were paid and expenses were paid, all of my profits were going to Breakfast Club of Canada. So I want to continue that going forward, but I wanted to make it as big as possible and as impactful as possible. So my sister-in-law, Ivana, we sort of brainstormed and we came up with something really unique and really wonderful. It's called the Give Back Collective, and it's an opportunity for all designers or whoever wants to come forward and join us and become part of the collective. And I'm not saying that all of their profits have to go to charity at all. We're just asking for them to put the net profits of one item. And then collectively together, we have a much bigger voice and a bigger platform to support not just one charity, but a few different charities. And these are charities that I've been working with, that I've already vetted, that I have an established relationship with, and I've done my homework on. So this is our starting point. This is our launch. Right now, our website is under construction, but we do have a link on there where you can just send us an email, and we'll just get back to you and say, here's what we're building, and we'd love to have you on board. So you can either just go to the website, givebackcollective.com or givebackcollective.ca, or reach out to me directly through Instagram at Joan Kelley Walker Official. Send me a DM. And that's it. That's what we're doing. Or the Give Back Collective is also on Instagram.
That sounds amazing. I just got goosebumps all over. And so I wanted to ask you, I know you've still managed to be really, really busy during the pandemic. And so I was just wondering how you feel it's affected your life both personally and professionally.
You know, I feel on one hand like I've been hit over the head with a sledgehammer repeatedly. It's been hard. Like, let's be honest here. It doesn't matter how bright and sunny of a disposition you have there. This has been long, and it's getting really tiring, and it's spring, and so everybody wants to get out and really blossom. And we've all been waiting, and we're still being so patient, but sometimes like it's challenging. So I'm digging deep and getting all my resources and doing my, my manifestations and my mindfulness and, everything that I can do to just support myself through this, because it has been hard on a lot of levels for a lot of people, for their businesses, with not being able to see family members. So I think the first thing is to really just acknowledge that we are all in this together and that we all have been affected in our unique way.
I agree. I think when you said that, you're making time to do some of those things that keep your positivity up. And I think that that's really important, that we can get sucked in to the negativity of everything that's going on. But it's important for us to remember that we can't control what's happening outside of ourselves. We can't control anything external to us. We can only control our own thoughts and emotions about what's going on. That's the only control we can do. So if we can try to keep positive during these times, then this is how we're going to get through it. And so you said that some of the things that you're doing to keep positive is what exactly? You said your mindfulness. What else did you mention?
For me, I'm very fortunate that I have my own treadmill. Even if I didn't have a treadmill, I would still focus my day around working out, because that just is something I look forward to every single day. That's my time where I can just put my phone away and get rid of everything and just really focus on me. So there's that. Other things, affirmations, journaling, I find those are super, super positive. Connecting with people through venues like this, Teresa, so thank you for having this show. And then routine things, like before I go to bed at night, every night I have a bath, things where I have my process. I find that's really helpful, because then I can wind down properly and I get better sleep, so I'm not as stressed. And also food. I think food is really important right now for everybody with COVID, because it's something to do. It's an activity you can do with your family. It's something you can do to practice self-love.
with spring like here, right? Not even just around the corner, like it's here. And I think that you're right. People are looking at, changing some of their dietary habits, some of the habits that they just, maybe blindly follow every single day. It's like mimicking what nature is doing, that spring is this time of renewal and reawakening. And I think that a lot of us are starting to feel like that now that the winter is behind us. I think you mentioned some of those things that people can use and tap into. And so I wanted, because the show is about steps to happiness, I wanted to ask you, what does your happiness look like what is happy for you? Because one of the other things I mentioned in the first half of today's show is that everyone's happiness is different. What fuels them in their bliss and in their happy is different. And so I'm wondering what that looks like for you.
For me, I think it's when I feel calm and content, because it's been really busy for me in the last couple of years, and it's just go, 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 and you're in your head so much, being creative, next steps, what's my to-do list, trying to get those things done. And like, it's okay. Like yesterday, I was like, I have so much work to do. I could sit at my desk for 3 days straight, and I was getting kind of intimidated by that. And I thought, you know what, it's okay. I'm going to go read a book. And I sat down, I read a book. So I found my calm. And then when I actually get to do the work, I'm not overwhelmed anymore. If I'm at the cottage in the summer, for example, and I've got a lot of guests coming over, I get that little kind of anxious thing happening that we all do. And, same thing, if I can just take a moment and breathe and find my own calm and just appreciate the surroundings and that, friends are coming, that it just makes everything so much better and less stressful.
And that's exactly right, that it's not in the busyness that occupies us all the time, that it is in those moments of like being in the now, being in the moment where you appreciate what it is that you're participating in, what is it that you're
Mhm.
doing, and really enjoying and taking the most that you can from that moment. And then that actually is what creates amazing memories that we can remember back upon. I can imagine that because you're a figure in the public eye, that it would be very hard for you, perhaps, to be your authentic self in every opportunity, every space, every arena that you find yourself in. Do you feel like you're able to be your authentic self in all of the places?
For anybody, it doesn't matter whether you're a celebrity or an influencer or whoever, it doesn't matter. I think it comes down to how mature you are and where you want to be. And I think the older I get, the less caught up I am in all that stuff, because really, does it serve you to compare yourself to other people on Instagram or at a show or a gala? Like, what are they wearing? Oh, I don't look good. And like, there's so much of that talk in our head that I really make a big conscious effort to counter it somehow. If I get that inner voice that's not serving me, I make a point of saying the exact opposite. And if you can say it in front of a mirror, it's even better. But if you're not comfortable with that, but I think the point is just go so far to your way to not compare yourself with others, and that's the best thing that you can do. So, having been on like a big international TV show like that was a big spotlight that it was shone on my head. And I realized, like, I have a voice here, and how am I going to use this? And I made clear intentions of I want to use this for good. This is for the greater good, not just for my own benefit. Because I think, if you're leading the charge because I want everybody to look at me, aren't I great? Really, that's boring to watch if somebody's doing that. So, I'm trying to like bring people along. Let's women supporting women. Let's help each other out. And for me, it's a lot about philanthropy and those efforts and trying to shine a light on the causes that are near and dear to my heart.
You and I worked together earlier last year when I wrote an editorial for you for the cover of a magazine. And I was so taken by your generosity and by your philanthropy activities and organizations and charities that are dear to your heart. And what you just said really connected the two, that as you are aware of your mission and how you want to portray yourself in the world and how you want people to see you, that and through your efforts you're able to really showcase what you're all about. And so I wanted you maybe just to say a word or two about your this desire that you have to give of yourself in that way, to try to help the different organizations that you're involved in. Like, how does that fuel even your like inner happiness at the same time? Because giving and receiving are correlated with each other, that the giver receives just as much as the receiver did. Like, it's set up exactly to do that, that when you give of yourself, you receive at the same time, which is so beautiful. So tell me about how that's also fueling your happiness as well, and joy in doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Teresa, that there's as much joy in giving as receiving. Sometimes I think even more so in giving. But I want to look kind of big picture down. Since 2000, I've been working with one organization that I'll mention. I work with several, but just for this example, I've worked with World Vision, and I have been on many trips with World Vision, a lot to Africa, to many different countries, as well as where else, Cambodia, Costa Rica, like some other places that they work. And I have seen the work that they're doing. And, you know, as a donor here in Canada, most people, they write a check, they sponsor a kid, or they might volunteer, spend their time, which is all great. But for me, I decided to take it to the next level, and I actually go to that location and I look at the work that's being done. Because when I make a donation, I'm like, what happened to that money? Like, what are you doing with it? So I'm actually a voice to go and see and learn and come back and talk about it. And, you know, it's not just me helping, and I do a lot of work as well within my own community, but I try and work national, community, and international. So when I'm doing the international work, the difference between people's lives is greater. And it's fulfilling on every level, whether you're working locally or internationally. It's just everybody's the same around the world. Everybody wants the same thing for their families, their kids, their health. So it's kind of bridging that gap that I think is the most important thing. And for me to be able to use my voice is, it's really an honor for me.
Well, thank you so much for all of the efforts that you do and all the things that
Thank
you're
you.
involved in. Thank you. It just makes the world a better place, that whenever we help anybody, it always comes back to us. So thank you so much for doing that. And so then my last question is for you, if there's anything else that you incorporate into your self-care practices. So you mentioned, you know, exercising and being mindful. Was there any positive affirmations? Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
Well, I think with some really basic things, water, drink your water. If you can't do that, then, you know, that's the easiest one of all. You know, if you're smoking, try and reduce the amount you're smoking. Don't do crazy things like, you know, take drugs and things like that. So those are basic things. You know, I might get in trouble. Some people say, well, it's not for someone else to decide what I do recreationally. But control your alcohol. That doesn't serve you. It's not empowering. You know, although that might be the pot calling the kettle black, but because I do have some wine every now and then. Yeah, so I think it's pulling out all the tools in the toolbox. It's your affirmations. It's your, you know, gratitude journaling is really powerful. Exercise is super key. Meditating is wonderful if you can use devices to help with that. I think planning, scheduling, there's a lot of power in that. It takes the stress off. I think visualizing is huge. Write down things in your wildest dreams. Here are my goals. I would love it if this would happen. And you don't need to share that with anybody. Just keep that for yourself. That's your own journey and your own thing to think about. And, you know, if you want to share it, great. If you don't want to, then that's okay too. So it's okay to just do things the way that you want to do them, even if it's unique to you and people say like, oh, I don't do that. Whatever works for you is what you need to do.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of those ideas. And those are really some of the principles and practices that we will be exploring over the course of every week with the show. And so you touched on a whole bunch of really great ones. And so thank you so much for doing that. Thank you also so much for being a guest on the show today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And so I just wanted to basically sum up our first episode of the Steps to Happiness show, that I hope that you were able to hear the message about the fact that happiness resides inside of ourselves, that even when we are actively practicing different steps and methodologies, that in the end, we're always trying to become aware of how it's fueling us on the inside. You know, is this serving me? Am I feeling more happy, calm, peaceful, all of those things that are our natural state, but the world takes us away from those things. So if we can always tune in and bring ourselves back to who we really are on the inside, then that's where we're going to find our true happiness. So thank you so much for being on the show today, and I look forward to being with all of you again next Saturday.
Interested in happiness and spiritual coaching and workshops? Go to teresagreco.ca. Email stepstotruehappiness@gmail.com. Follow on Instagram, Teresa Greco _steps to happiness, or on Facebook at Steps to True Happiness with Teresa Greco. This is the Steps to Happiness show on 105.9 The Region.